Hey, and welcome back to a new Real Talk. This is Nathan, aka Scruffybeard. Um, yeah, that Transformers show came out. That's a thing. It's probably the title of the video. Um, yeah, can I get my 2 weeks late review of it? Heck, where do I even start? Overall thoughts when I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh hey, new Transformers show on Netflix. Okay, cool. Netflix has really done pretty well with remaking 80s shows. The Voltron show is pretty good. The He-Man show that's coming out by Kevin Smith sounds like it's interesting. I can't say anything until I see a trailer. The She-Ra show, I don't it's not my thing. There's some other stuff that's on there. I'm like looking at it. I'm like, if you look at it real close, it's G1, but like watching through the grime and grit. Actually, it was interesting, like how faithful the toy models are. I first heard the voice acting was like, maybe it's just how the trailer's cut and stuff. We'll see. Where do I start? Let's start with the designs. The designs, oh my goodness. Designs are, like I said, pretty much the toys, but they don't like change it. Like, you still have the ports and the pegs for the toys. Like, I got the Siege Megatron that they made for the Netflix show. Like, all these ports you see, the screw holes and all of that, that's all still there. Like, that's... You couldn't cover it up. You couldn't, like, or make it nodes or something. Like, they didn't change it. Yeah, Megatron doesn't have big lips either. That's another thing. Where Megatron has, like, these big lips for some reason. Everyone else looked decent. They changed stuff up, like they gave, a Prime crack in his helmet. I think it's on the, Dead Optimus Prime they made. I don't know. But, yeah. That's all the design. Character-wise, it's interesting. There's some weird, cool callbacks to things. Character-wise, like Wheeljack Bumblebee, the first characters you see. There's going for Energon, that was cool. There's not really much to... Like, the main characters focus on are Optimus Prime, Ultra Magnus, Starscream, Jetfire, and Bumblebee. And Alita 1. Those are the main characters. And then you have everyone else's in the background. Like, Wheeljack's maybe, I think, got 5 lines in the 6 episodes. That's like 1 line per episode. And I love the voice for Wheeljack. He's trying to use Brooklyn accent, trying to be the original G1 Wheeljack. Sorry, I can't quit yawning. Bumblebee, I love how he's like, he's not in the movie Bumblebee. We're not gonna do it anymore. He's not Cyberverse. He's not Prime Bumblebee. He could talk, finally. Like, he's this scavenger looking for Energon, and he's just not interested in the war. He's just interested in making a profit, trying to survive. And it was interesting seeing what he would do. But it was kind of annoying because how everyone was acting. We didn't get one person that was trying to stay face through something. Or, like, we didn't get a wheelie. It was jarring. Lita 1, she's basically just... Remember that one character from the G1 show? Where, because there was that episode where it was just her and a bunch of other female Autobots just fighting on Cybertron. Her main role in the show is to, like, help give Optimus clarity and be a supportive character. She has some cool action scenes. Optimus and Megatron are interesting in the show. I don't know. We're like, basically get the line. Man, I keep yawning. Like basically the line continuity. The line continuity is like it was Transformers Prime, RAD, all that. It was like shakes of the movie, and then like some G1 and some IDW. This show really pulls a lot of IDW with some of its lore, which I'll get into when I get to the plot. He's like, I want to create. Megatron's like, I want to create justice for the working class, but he wants to do it through tyranny, and he's getting his way through twisting footage, saying that Prime was trying to kill him, and then he's like, also he didn't want to kill certain characters until he was really pushed towards the end, and as it goes on, the more militaristic and more amped up it gets. Optimus, he's like a hardened soldier. He's haunted by an old friend's actions, and the deaths of his mentor. He doesn't like killing, which is interesting because like the movie Optimus just kill everyone. And he's like disgusted by the thought of Autobots torturing people. Like he just loses it and starts wrecking stuff. I like that. And Lita wanted him relationship. Could have done more. I really like that. Starscream, he's not in command like he is every time. They give him and Jetfire. They play on that relationship like in the original G1, where like they're friends, and then Jetfire saw what Decepticons were doing and became Skyfire. And I like that. He's just like conniving. He's also like, there's lines that they say in this show, and it makes the Decepticons seem like Nazis, where they're like, Starscream, at one point, Megatron's plan, it's in the trailers, where he's like, let's, use the Allspark to derez everyone, make them into Decepticons, or the Order, and like, Starscream's like, but we're Decepticons, and they're not, it's awkward, and I'm like, so you're a Nazi, the way, like, it was coming across, it was awkward. I liked it, his voice is pretty passable. I like Jetfire as commander, it was interesting, and it was interesting to see his turn. Ultra Magnus, his basic role in this show is, I'm tired of war, let's create a peace treaty. He's betrayed by Megatron after trying to appeal to an old friend, because they were friends before the war, along with Optimus Prime and Alpha Trion. But during the war, there's put on different sides, do their ideals, and it was kind of sad. Some of the minor characters, Red Alert gets some love again. He hasn't gotten really any love since the Armada show, and I like this character. I'm like, oh, he's Ratchet. Excuse me. He's like, oh, he's gonna take place with Ratchet, but then Ratchet shows up. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, immediately as Ratchet shows up, Red Alert's cut down. I'm like, oh. And like Ratchet, where he's like, he's an Autobot, but he's really not wanting to fight, and really not for what's going on, and he's not really for the Decepticons either, so he's like in the middle, and he's just patching people up, giving a place to stay. As like a refugee camp, I really like that. That's how we get characters like Impactor. He was pretty interesting. I already said something about Jetfire. There's a bunch of minor characters in this show, and it's really painful because here's your main cast, but then everyone else is repaints. Like, they don't make it any of the other toys. We got Cliffjumper, but we didn't get, like, you could have made it Hoist or Grapple and all these other characters. But, like, you see these characters, they might not have a part now, but in the next series they're gonna have a part. They don't do that. That's how you foreshadow. Be like, oh, there's the green guy that turns into a truck. That's another thing. No one really transforms. I think maybe Megatron transforms once, Optimus Prime transforms once or twice. Jetfire, I think the most transforming is done by the Seekers. They turn into jets. Like Bumblebee and Wheeljack never transform, they just run. And it's really weird because like there's scenes where they could have just gotten away if they just transformed, but like they didn't create separate models, and they could have just been like, "Hey, you got a separate model. Maybe it'll show up in the Netflix toy line at some point, or a Generation Selects thing." Overall, I really enjoyed some of the characters, even though some of it was painful. Like the voice acting, oh my goodness. Some of it, like, this thing's 6 episodes, and it, like, dialogue dragged. Like, it's that stock, bravado, heroic, nonsense, schluck. But the voice acting drags on forever. I see you want to make them robots, but you gotta give them character. Like, the Prime, they were robots. It's not like robots, but they still had character and a voice, and it's painful, and it drags. Like, everyone sounds the same. All the Autobots are a stock voice, and all the Cybertrons are more stalker evil voice. It's painful to watch, and it's what really dragged it. Even like, and it gets into the plot because that also dragged. It's every war movie. The hardened leader is sustained by war versus a despot whose vision is good in the start but was muddled in the beginning. Yada yada yada. It's very compressed. It's like 6 episodes, and they don't even give them titles. It's Chapter 1, Chapter 2. It's not like the battle at what was it? Trafalgar, or was it? I don't know. It was like the battle at the gate. I can't remember the names because everyone talked. It was so boring. I blanked down the names. Like I want to see, like a lot of also when I was this show should be called Transformers Siege. Why? Because something happens. I can't speak right now, but every time something happens, it's either I'm like, huh, that's interesting, or huh, why? Why is Jetfire the leader of the Seekers? What makes him the best choice for a leader? Why is Ultra Magnus tired of the war? I mean, that's not really a question because there's war. Why is Bumblebee the way he is? Why are there clones? Like, there's all these random repaints as I was saying, but then they bring in like Shockwave's making clones of people, and they don't be like, oh yeah, there's just clones of people. Experimentation. We just rescued them. Like that could have been a point where like, oh yeah, there's multiple clones. A lot of them are just experiments that we've rescued, and they just want to fight in the war to protect. But really, this show it's 6 episodes, and the plot is really slow as them talking. I was excited because it was an anime, but it's also Transformers, and sweet action scenes, but there's nothing. There are no action scenes. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, the first scene where Wheeljack and Bumblebee are at, they find a space bridge, okay, and then the Seekers show up. They're cornered. Then there's a scene in that Starscream's like kind of bucking authority because he wants to kill them. And Jetfire's like, no, they gotta go for questioning at like it was basically an internment camp. I can't keep stuff straight. I just rewatched it last night. I watched it in its sub when it first came out, and I stayed up till 2 a.m. watching it, and I thought I could get through it, and I did, and I thought I was up all night. No, I was up till 2 a.m. watching it, but it seems like forever because how slow it got. I'm sorry for sitting for my brother because I'm watching it. He's trying to sleep in the bed next to me. And then I watch it on the way home, driving. We're on the way home, and I'm watching it in the back of the car. I watch it, and it's I watched it in the dub first, and then I watched it in the sub. The dub's even worse. Like, and the good thing about this show from the Machinima show is that everything's better, like 10 times better. But then there's like the voice acting. Oh my goodness! Like, I don't have to recognize anyone, but it's ridiculous. Like, I'm like thinking, how cool would this be if they had the animation team and the writing team from My Hero Academia? How cool are some of those fight scenes? The fight between the No Moon and All Might, the fight between Stain and Todoroki and Tinya, or Ida, sorry. Like, some of those great fight scenes everyone remembers. Like, that's what Transformers should have. Like, this, you should have this cool fight between Megatron and Optimus. This cool fight between Jetfire and the Seekers. This cool fight between Ultra Magnus and Megatron, maybe. But there's none of that. It's just literally toys hitting together. Like, this is an actual recreation of it. Like, here is Combiner Wars Scattershot, I think. I recall correctly. And Netflix Siege Megatron is basically this, oh, you can't do that. Like, that's how it went. Like, they're just smacking each other. Like, I'm watching this, and I'm like, so am I like, people are shooting at each other, and I don't think anyone gets hit. Or if they do, it's really where you can't see it. Like, the camera will be like, here's the character, like, in the back, and then here's the camera just watching them, and then they're getting shot from the back, but now we're gonna see it. Like, it's like the 90s Spider-Man show where, like, he couldn't punch anyone, so he just kicked them or webbed them. Like, basically what was happening. It was really painful. I'm like, oh, we should get some cool space guns, like, from the toys, but we don't get any of that. And the other thing is, they didn't really utilize the Toyland. Like, I know you're trying to create a story, but, like, you also want to use the toy because it's a toy line. That's what the show's trying to promote. But I'm like, they're like, Shockwave at one point's like, oh, if he's a room full of hidden experiments. And Megatron's like, you have more experiments? And you could have been like, yeah, I'm experimenting on the wildlife. I created, like, battle masters for us, and that's going to turn the tide of the war. No, we don't get any of it. And then they're like, there is no one around except for, like, the groups and a bunch of, like, stock things. You could have just expanded it. Like, the first couple episodes are before the war, and it's how Megatron got to power, and then time jump, and the war's already started, and then you have, spoilers, betrayal of Alpha Trion. Because Alpha Trion it was killed by Megatron, and then jump, and then you have the beginning of what happened in the show where the war is almost over. Like, the war is going on for a while. Like, it's like, there's so much that happens where, like, they do the thing of telling but not showing, and some of it works in storytelling, so you don't need to show it, but there's stuff in here that needs shown, and it would have made it 10 times better. Like, when this came out, you know, because of the top 10 thing, trending thing, that was on there, and I think it was on there for, like, a day on number 10, and then it gone, because people were interested, because they were watching it, and it's so boring. I'd recommend it, but it's freaking boring. Like, it's ridiculous. Getting back around to the plot, it really could have used 6 more episodes to really flesh out characters. So when Ultra Magnus dies, it's heartbreaking. When Optimus seems like he's gonna die, it's heartbreaking. And you get to see character motivation. Like, I hate, like, I'm bashing on this. I kind of actually enjoyed it. But it's so boring. It's so, like, I'm not saying, like, animation's boring. No, it looks beautiful. It's like they have, like, these Star Wars level backgrounds. Like that opening shot for Rise of Skywalker, if you like the movie or not, like the opening scene where he's got the pyramid and there's lightning everywhere, like how beautiful that looked. There's shots like that, and everything's beautiful. But then everything's got this weird blue wash, and it's gritty, and it's... I see you want to do war, but, like, you have to, like, at least give me some character. Like, you're just sold on the animation, and that sucks. Like Cyberverse, I got put off by animation. It's not bad. I rewatched it, and I actually enjoyed it, but, like, it was off-putting at first, but I really enjoyed the story. You have to have that story. The story is so... It's probably... The paper, it looks... This looks good. But because you don't have... The voice acting lacks, it's jarring. Like, the machinima wasn't good. It was a drag, but at least had interesting voice casting. I think Jason Frank plays a Transformer, I think. Like, you don't have to do stunt casting, but you have to have interesting voices. I think the only one I recognized was Todd Haberkorn. And that's... I think he plays Bakugo off My Hero Academia, but that's, like, about it. Like, it's so jarring. Like, I'll recommend it. But I was more looking towards Earthrise and Siege because it looked more interesting. Kingdoms looks more interesting. There's already a plot leak for Kingdoms. Earthrise hasn't even come out, and we have to wait till I think next June. I think till this comes out. That's too long. You should have done this. Waited 2 months. Release the next part. Wait 2 months. Release the next part. But of course, you want to release it with the toy line, tight the toy line up, so we gotta wait till... Well, Earthrise is already happening, so... Like... And when I heard that it was getting delayed, I'm like, okay, cool, they could fix things. The voice acting would get fixed, or maybe... Like, the Japanese trailer was way more interesting than the American trailer. I don't know. I can't think of anything else to say. We really need to get away from the CG Transformer shows. I keep saying there's too many Transformer CG shows. There's really not that many. There's not, but like that's what it's been since 2004. We really need to go back to 2D. I think one I was really trying was Robots in Disguise, but even that wasn't fully 2D. We really need to go back to the 2D. If not, I think people are done with CG. But overall, like if you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe for more content, more video reviews, and a bunch of other junk. Check them out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Links are in the description. And you'll have a good rest of your day. Stay bearded, stay faithful. Peace.
Yeah. Hey.